All right, welcome back, peeps, to another not episode, but just my usual co-working as I work in open source. So back on Nikki T Live, mixing it up a bit, added some color. So decided the pink, the yellow is getting a little boring. So I'm trying out the pink here. I like it, but let me know what you think. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So, working on all things open source as usual. Uh, it's pretty much what I'm gonna stream most of the time. If it's when it's not a guest, just because all my work's open source. So, uh, I just like doing it in the open and trying to do it more, just to show people what I'm working on. But also, it's just fun working in the open. I'll probably work on some side stuff sometimes too, but typically it's going to be open source just because, at least during this part of the day, it's like during my work hours anyways. So, killing two birds with one stone in a good way. I don't know if people still use that expression, but I don't even know what an equivalent expression is. But that's what I grew up with. Not saying it's right, but anyways. Cool, cool. So, for those who've been following along, I hung out with Kevin Thomas Van Cott last, when was it, Thursday? We were doing, he gave me a really great intro to Tan Stack Table. It was very approachable. I'd never used it before, so that's why, and we just chatted a bit, and he's like, yeah, I'll give you kind of like the tour. And I got the feature I was working on integrated with TanStack pretty quickly. I had like a working table before that, but there's some niceties that you get with the TanStack table. So if you want to check out that episode, let me go find that here. Just give me 2 seconds. Should have it on the button, but I don't. Um, well, if you're on Twitch, you can just go see like previous broadcasts, but just for anybody checking this out in the future, let's see here. Just go. Yeah, here it is. So let me just mute that, pause that. Right, let's share, copy, boom. All right, yeah, so you can check it out here. Let me see here. Hold on a sec. Yeah, let's drop it here, and I'll drop it over on good old Twitter. Now that it's not that difficult to actually be able to see my own chat in there. Still can't post to my own LinkedIn Live. I don't know why. I'll say the same thing I say all the time. I did what they said initially, which was like just you know stuff that I used to tell people internet technical support, but you need to clear your cookies, log out, whatever. It worked once, and then it hasn't worked since. So I don't know. So if you're on LinkedIn Live and you happen to be catching this, if I don't answer you, it's not because don't want to answer you. I'll probably answer you verbally during the stream. But anyways, so yeah, so I'm just continuing on this, and I don't think we need to see my to dos. Okay, all right. This is zoomed in here, but so we got some vertical scrolling. Um, there's some things we can do here. During the live stream with Kevin, we pinned some columns, uh, which I'm gonna redo. Sorry, I just need some caffeine. Uh, I just undid it temporarily because I was doing some other things. So the nice thing about like if we look at tan stack table here real quickly, so there's a few things here. Like the magic is this hook. Where is it? Okay. So here's my component. It's called workspace pull request table. And that's what this component is here. And essentially there's a few things. Okay, so there's column pinning. That's one thing. So pinning is basically, oh no, is that used right now? Yeah, it is. Okay. Yeah. So the column pinning is just saying like These ones are the ones that are always going to appear first. So they're always at the beginning, but they're not like frozen, which is what I wanted to do. And we did do that during the live stream. I'm going to re-enable that. Essentially, you pin them and then you have to add some CSS to do that. I'll bring that back though. Like I said, today though, I'm not really focusing on that. So there's a few things here. Like the big thing with the tan stack table is I'm using Next.js, so we're using React. So there's this hook they expose called use React table. Then essentially you have your column definitions. So this is essentially each column that you see in the grid, but there's some customizations which I'll show you. The data, uh, get core row model. From what I understood from this from Kevin was there's different row models, and like there's one like which is a whole kitchen sink which is like paging and everything, and I think get core row model is like the base one. And in our case, because there's things that tan stack table can do, which is like it can do sorting or filtering, but like you can essentially load all your data initially and do that. In my case, it's like essentially a fire hose of data, so there's no way that I'm going to be loading all the data client side first. So essentially, our API calls, let us know, okay, go get the next page and so on. So I'm managing that myself. So I think that's why we went with get core row model. And then the state is basically the state of the table. So think of these as like settings for the table. And I can't remember what else is in here, but actually, if we look at the type, partial table state. So let's go to the definition. Okay, there's a lot of things in here. But essentially, there's some niceties you can do there is at least from what I understood, like so say I have the column pinning and stuff. Think about personalization in the future. So like this is the predefined view that I would give people, and then maybe one of the maintainers who was using this workspace or they have their own workspace, they go like this pull request table is super useful to me, but I don't care about like 80% of these columns. I want to know the state, the number, the repo, the author, and maybe the updated date, and that's about it. So they could just potentially, like, we don't have this in place yet, but we could allow people to select particular columns and stuff, and then we could allow them to persist it. And I think if we did this, at least in a first phase, it would probably be in local storage. But after that, it could be something that you'd persist in the database. I think that would make more sense long term. But for now, anyways, that's just kind of what I'm thinking. So I think the real interesting thing here is, well, I'll just show you how the table gets built real quick, and then we'll go to the column definitions because that's kind of like the neat part, in my opinion. Uh, so I'm using shadcn, and these are just, the copy pasta components you take from there. I'm using actual HTML tables, so that's like a table, a T head, T body, T footer, T foot, I think, T foot. I don't know. Is there a T pane? Somebody's got to create a T dash pane web component or something, just and send that to Postman. But anyways, if you know, you know. Um, so essentially, uh, yeah, we're building the HTML table, and then from there, the table, which is what we get from the hook. So use React table gives us this table. That's well, it gives us a bunch of stuff, and we set it in a variable called table. And so we get the row model, which allows us to get the rows, and then we map over it. So, classic React stuff, just mapping over something. And each row, we're giving it a key. So we're going row ID, and then row dot get visible cells. I think we went with that because I imagine there's a case where some aren't visible. That could be due to preferences. Not positive about that. I hadn't looked into that. Then we got cell ID for the key here because we're mapping over those. And then we're getting the flex render. I'm trying to remember what he said this was. If rendering headers, cells, or footers with custom market. Okay, yeah, yeah. So we're using flex render because we have customized what the actual content of a cell should look like. So we have like a cell renderer in the column definitions. So I guess, yeah, unless you're certain it's always going to be just the value, uh, just use this. And I even wonder if like maybe there's a bit of overhead if you just use this all the time, but who knows? And essentially, we're getting the column definition and that particular cell, and then we're getting some context about it. And then we just have the pagination down here. That's just nothing to do with tan stack in this particular case. It's tan stack table. This is just our own pagination. And like I mentioned, our API handles this right now. So let's go to the thing that the I think coolest part. And this is something I'd seen before. Okay. Yeah, so we have these columns we're defining here. So if anybody's ever worked with something called AG Grid, which I know Tanner and AG Grid have kind of exchanged ideas, I think, and stuff, but I was using AG Grid back in 2016. I was working at this fintech startup, and AG Grid had this concept of a cell renderer, and I think that's pretty much what this is here. So basically, you don't have to really define all these things unless you want to customize things. But essentially here, so we have a key, sorry, for example, repository here, the actual property that gets returned from the API, it's called repo name. We obviously don't want the header to be called that, so we give it an explicit name, repository, and then this cell gets this info, and the cell property here, this is the cell renderer. So it's getting this information. And so, for example, if we go to the repo, which is here, sorry, here's an example right there on the left. Essentially, I'm using a Next.js link. I have a function to create the repo URL. I'm using it by getting the repo value, and the repo value is actually like the text you see here, like the CNTI dash. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but essentially the text of the link here. And then I'm using the get value again to just show the name of the repo. And then this is kind of neat because then you can do, because it's basically JSX because we're in React land here. So it's JSX. So you can do whatever you want with that cell. Like obviously take performance into consideration. So don't do something super funky that might take forever for like one cell. But essentially, most of the stuff I've done here is it's linked, so like the number. So this goes to the actual, if I click here, this is going to go to the actual pull request. And if I come back here, this one, it actually goes to our repo page, which is a new feature we have. And hey Kevin, how you doing? That's funny. Yeah, I was just kind of recapping some of the stuff we. Oh yeah, geez, I got into the mix too quick and I forgot to share my screen. Cool, cool, cool. Let's come back here. Yeah. So, yeah, I've been talking about all this and I forgot to switch screens. Oh man, still getting over a cold. Um, but yeah, like I was saying, so since I wasn't sharing my screen, um, I think I gotta stop going to this view when I start, which is just me. I think I'm just gonna always start in the pairing view instead. But anyways, uh, yeah. So yeah, what I was saying was, and also thanks again for hanging with me on Friday, Kevin. It was super useful and it was fun too. Uh, yeah. So like I was saying, since I'm sharing my screen now. So we're using tan stack table. Um, Tan stack table is a headless agnostic a component, um, but there's like kind of like little lightweight additions so you can use it for particular frameworks. So in this case, we've got a hook in React called use React table, and just all the stuff I was mentioning before. And like I was saying, I think the cool, I haven't delved in a ton yet still, but I think the thing that's the most interesting to me right now is the column definitions and just how you can have, like I was saying, this is something I saw in AG Grid initially back in 2016, but the cell property, when you have these additional options in your column definitions, you have this cell renderer. That's essentially what this is. It's a function, which this is essentially a component there. So it's taking some props, which happens to be the cell information, and then we're just returning some JSX. Also, if I sound a little nasally still, I do have a bit of a cold still. So yeah, essentially what I've done is because initially, uh, when I did the stream with Kevin, we just outputted all the data. I didn't have it customized like this. I used to have this pull request table row component that I had prior to using the tan stack table, but now that I have the cell renders, I've been moving stuff over. So the links are one example. Uh, the avatars here, these are called avatar hover cards. So essentially, I'm getting the author. So like if we come down and yeah, here, if we zoom in one more here, author, where'd you go? Sorry, author. Yeah, okay. So if we look here, doesn't look like I'm doing much, but that's because I'm leveraging an existing component that we have in the project. But essentially, cell renderer again, and then it's an avatar hover card, which is our custom component, and then the contributor, which is the user name on GitHub, is this property coming from the row information, and that's essentially it. So I think these are nice things that just you get out of the box. Like I was doing this custom before, but this is all within just column definitions of tan stack table. And what I plan to do is, so I have right now I'm working on like a large screen, but I have to build a mobile view for this. And so essentially I'm going to change the column definitions probably so that the experience will look a little different. I also have to look into the group. I think there's a grouping and stuff because like I think for the mobile view it'll probably make sense to maybe show something like state, PR number, repository, and author, or maybe a date too. Oh, thanks, Kevin. Um, yeah, and I didn't pin the columns at the moment. Hey, how's it going, Nixia618? I didn't pin the columns again yet because I will do that again, but just going to I undid it temporarily because I was porting the stuff I had done with the cell renderers, and then I'll put it back in though. But yeah, I got to speak with my product designer, but essentially on the mobile view, not so much on a tablet. It's really more like on a phone view, which people might not necessarily look at this on a phone, but people do. So I'm just trying to think of like it's still gonna be rows. I'm probably gonna have the icon for the state because that's pretty universal. People understand those. Probably the PR number, repository, author, and then yeah, maybe the updated at. I think those first four in some kind of mobile view, and then expanding it. Hey, Skip Farrow, how you doing, man? Um, you can consider the column visibility features for dynamic columns in different viewports instead of changing column definitions themselves. Tons of directions you can go with, though. Okay, so okay, I was curious about that. Yeah, because the other thing too is I wonder on the mobile view there, Kevin, like maybe we just don't show all the information. Like I guess uh, based on yeah, exactly. The visibility. I was definitely going to have different. When I meant different column definitions, what I meant was what you're saying. So like I have a hook to say like what's the it's a like a use media query hook, and then basically I could say like if we're on a small screen, only render these column definitions or something. But like because I wonder if it's useful on mobile to show all this information. It might, like, and I really mean more on a phone, like, so like if we show like these first four, maybe, or maybe even the PR title, like I don't know, maybe it's like state, I don't know, I gotta sync up with my product designer just to think about like what's the best view for like what you see in the row immediately, and then there'll definitely be like an expand arrow to see more about it, because obviously mobile, uh, because we definitely don't want to have horizontal scrolling on mobile. I think on desktop, horizontal scrolling is fine, and like this is the expanded view, and it doesn't scroll right now. But I think on like, yeah, like on a smaller, somewhat smaller screen, like maybe even like maybe this is laptop size. I didn't check really. Uh, okay, cool. Yeah, okay, I'm gonna open this. Copy link address. Okay, wait, this oh, it actually loaded in okay, yeah, yeah. Okay, so let's take a peek here and okay. Uh Also, for folks who didn't catch the stream on Friday with Kevin, who's in the chat, one, go give him a follow on Twitch if you haven't already. Super knowledgeable guy and fun to hang with. Um, the other thing is shout out to just the Tan stack in general. Like the docs are really really good. I know there's still some. I know Kevin was saying like there's some Angular stuff dropping at some point, so that's missing right now. But like in general, like it's pretty good. Okay, so I want to see the expanding detail here. Okay, yeah, yeah. Even details is good actually, Kevin. So okay, yeah. So yeah, no, even yeah, essentially this is what I'm going to do for a mobile view. What I meant for the definitions is like I would use the use media query hook, and well, let me see what you got going on in here first actually before I keep talking. So, let's drag this over. Let's zoom this in a bit. I'll just close this for a second. Okay, so we've got the columns. Okay, yeah, so that's the expander row. That's the thumbs up, thumbs down thing here that you see here. That's cool. And then when it clicks, row dot get toggle expanded handler. Okay. Uh, and let's see down here. So yeah, we got first name, last name, whatever. Okay, so we got a minimal amount of stuff, and then the rest. Let's see how. I guess I guess the one thing I want to do is when it does become expandable, I still want to have it be accessible. So like to make it known it's still part of that particular row. But I imagine that what you've done here or whoever did this example, that probably is the case. But okay, so yeah, first name, last name. Okay, let's go past all those. Okay, more info. Let's see here. Visit status profile. Okay. Let's check this out. Profile progress. Okay. And okay, so we got flex render. Again, like I mentioned at the start of the stream, that's essentially because we're not using the raw value. We need to render it. So this is uh, rendering a React component instead of just an actual value. Um, Okay, there. T body. Com def get. Okay, so row dot get is expanded. Okay, so this is related to the handler when the button gets clicked, and essentially, okay, so it's adding another table row. Second row is a custom one cell row. Yeah, I guess here, so this is the thing I want to make sure it works well because this is a second row now, it's not necessarily it's data visually when I look at it, I know that I just expanded this and it's part of that row, but semantically it's two different rows, and I know there's a way to say that it's part of the same row. So it's just what the heck is it? Let's see here. Table row. Uh, let's go MDN link cell to table row. I'm pretty sure there's obviously the TR element. This is the thing I'm concerned about to some degree. But also the other thing too is this could still be the same row, and just the way it's visualized can I got some ideas here, but I could have sworn there was a way to link it. Uh, maybe I'll dig into it later. Yeah, scope column. Yeah, sure. There was something else. Not sorting T-body. I'll figure it out. But essentially, I think what could, because here we're saying the row is expanded. I wonder, I'm curious how this actually would behave. But so if we close this, and then we just made this a fragment. Oops. Um, like that, and then just made this a TR. So it's still, if I knew how to type. So it's still part of the same row. Okay, so it's not, okay, it doesn't do it. Okay. That makes sense, I guess. Okay, let's undo that. Okay, and then we're back in business. There's definitely, hey, favor. I don't know if it's favor or favor. Thanks for dropping by. I mentioned at the start of the stream, but I still can't comment on my own LinkedIn live for some reason. So apologies if you have comments, I will see them and I'll just respond to them live. We're working on a feature for my work. I work at a place called OpenSauced, and I'm currently working on this pull request table feature. And I hung out last week with Kevin Vandy, who's in the chat. You're on LinkedIn Live, but he's on Twitch. Um, Kevin Thomas Van Cott, he's one of the maintainers of TanStack Table, and we hung out together on, yeah, it was Thursday. Um, just did a live stream, and he helped me integrate the beginnings of TanStack Table into my feature, and I'm still working on it today. So I've done some tweaks and stuff. So mentioned in a few minutes ago and at the beginning of the stream, but essentially we had the raw data when I did it with Kevin, and then now I've added some styling in the column definitions of TanStack Table. You have this cell property, and think of it as like a cell renderer. I don't know if that's the official term they use, but so essentially this raw data, so like update Envoy examples, readme for the title, that's the raw data. But in other cases here, the raw data is this text you see here, but I make it a link because I know, I create a link here or here based on the PR state. I show a different icon, and then I still have text to make it accessible, alt text. And then here, that's the author. So this particular author is Haskojer. And I'm using a custom component that we built to render here. And it just makes the grid look a lot better. And also doing some other stuff here. So like additions and deletions to this particular pull request. So I've just styled it with green and red. And then like I'm using some before pseudo classes here in CSS to show a plus or a minus because we don't want that to be part of the data. So like if I copy this, you see how like I've highlighted it, I can't select a minus. And that's something you typically want to do if you're like styling stuff, but it's not part of the data. So that's just a little side tip. But anyways, um, yeah, I've been enjoying TanStack so far. Table specifically, haven't used the other stuff yet. I'm sure probably gonna look into some other stuff like TanStack query at some point. But for now, we're starting off with the table. My feature I've been working on, it's the first example of introducing it to the code base. And going forward, I plan to, the other tables we have, I plan to do the same thing. Um, and yeah, so that's kind of where we're at. I'm gonna look at the row expanded stuff, definitely, Kevin. But for now, sorry, I have a bit of a cold still. So I'd rather wipe my nose than have it leaking on stream. So all right, so the one thing I did want to do is if I undo what I did here, just do this temporarily. You know what, I'll leave it there for now. But essentially, I have these. Hey, how's it going, Indranth? Nice to see you here, my man. Uh, So before integrating TanStack, I had these two drop downs here. So like we can filter by these particular columns and we can do ascending or descending. Um, but this is taking up some real estate, and what I really want to do is I just want to add it into the columns themselves. So like for example, let's get some real estate back here. Okay, you're doing good. Just busy organizing API bench and coding for work at the same time. Cool, 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 man. Yeah, I'm still curious about API bench if you want to talk about it sometimes. I haven't really looked into it completely. I know it's a project you've been working on, but who knows? Maybe one day if you want, we could stream and talk about it. I know it's open source, so. Um, Cool. So yeah, so basically I want to have the order by, so I want to do ascending or descending for like say updated at, and then like created at, closed at, and merged at. So let's go to the column definitions and let's go find one here. Okay, PR updated. Okay, so let's do PR updated at because that's the first one that's showing. Um, Okay, and also just okay, so we got the value and yeah, okay, get time. Let's go to that. So essentially here, right now, I'm returning a date time HTML element, which is good. Okay, cool. Oh yeah, yeah. Let me drop it in the Slack when the talk drops. Um, so in general, when you're working with date time, like if you're displaying a date time, I'd recommend using the HTML time element, and then date time attribute. You can put the actual UTC time, which is what you should be storing in your database. And in this particular case, I'm rendering this table client side, so I'm saying a new date from that UTC time string, and I'm saying to locale date string. And then basically the browser just handles it. If I had to render this server side, I would do the same thing, but probably using like if you used Vercel or Netlify, there's like edge functions. Netlify also does this in their Netlify functions too now, but essentially you get geolocation data, so you could actually uh, it depends. Like If this table was being rendered server side for some reason, um, maybe it doesn't have as much data, or maybe it still does, but it's just completely rendered that way. You could vary the cache based on the locale, but I don't know. That'd be a little intense. You might not want to cache that because, like, if as you go back and forth, and maybe and if it's like kind of somewhat real time data, but anyways, long story short, I'm using a time HTML element, UTC time in the date time attribute, and then I'm just converting it to the locale here. So I'm in Canada, so this is what you get by default here. Maybe I can make that prettier, but that's what I'm going with. Cool, cool, cool. All right, so essentially, like, basically what I would like to see is, and this really should be get time as a function. This is really a component now, so I should really change that. But like, essentially what I want to have is div here, and let's do this. And then we'll say we're using Tailwind in the project, so we'll say flex. We'll say like gap 2, and then essentially what we'd like to have is arrow icon, arrow up icon. Sure. Um, I don't know what width or what's it use. Size. Sure. 12. Alt area label. Uh, and we'd say ascending. And all right. Anyways, just as an example. So I'm going to save this, and then did it add it? No, I can't tell. Should be in there, but why didn't it? Oh, whoops. I'm doing it in the cell renderer. That's a mistake. It's supposed to be in the header, not the okay, so that's my bad. Okay. So actually this brings up an interesting point. I think there is a custom cell renderer for the headers too, actually. I could be wrong about that, but let's find out. Actually, let's look here. Okay, so it can be a string. Let's go to the definition and see. String or template header. Okay. So let's see here. I'm guessing this won't work, but okay, it is. Okay, so I can get a renderer here too. Okay, good. Cool. So, and then we just do this basically. I'd probably, well, let's just do it here inline first. So let's do div, and then we'll put the actual name, and that will be updated at. I'll definitely put this into a component after, just because like it's going to be the same thing for all the dates. And then here we'll have the, whoops, no, not that. We'll have the up arrow, by up arrow. Yeah, I think that's what we usually use. Side, no. Width, no. Style, or let's do class equal class name. Mix an astro and React here. So we'll do W dash, what is it, 12 pixels? Sure, let's try that. And then we'll do aspect ratio square there. Let's just save that. Div. Oh, need to make this class name. And then we're going to say flex. And we're going to say gap 2. Let's just save that. And then now update it at, okay, so it's got an arrow now. And okay, cool. It's good to know, Adrian. Yeah. Anyways, we can talk after. Okay, okay, and let's do item center. Okay, and that's gonna come down probably, or it should. Oh, whoops, items dash center. There we go, and I don't think it's this one. Arrow alt. Let's try that. Should be dark. No, the other one was better. Arrow circle. Solid. That's what we want. Solid. Okay. So right away, okay, and then like let's maybe make it a little bigger. Let's do W4. Okay. That probably looks not too bad. What's W5? Okay, and actually is the aspect ratio 1 to 1? I'm not sure. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. We could do 6 just because YOLO. But why does it keep moving? If most all columns are sortable with a sort arrow, consider doing this in the main th render examples with sorting APIs. Okay, cool. Thanks. No, no, it's you're not bugging me at all, Kevin. This is super appreciated. Comment away, my man. No. Okay, cool. Let's take a peek here. So in the main, so not all the columns are going to be sortable. Maybe at some point they will, but okay, so you have the created at and stuff. Let's see here. Let's close the side here. And let's just go see here. So th header is placeholder. Okay, class name. On click. Get toggle sorting handler. Okay. Okay, so this is definitely what I want. It wouldn't be for all of them, but let's see here. So get toggle sorting handler. Okay, and let's see here. Okay, let me look this up in the tan stack. Also, I really like the look of the doc site. Okay, let's go back to tan stack table. La table. Get started. All right. Search. I just want to look at this. Yeah, so, okay. Yeah. Returns a function that can be used to toggle this column sorting state. This is useful for attaching a click handler to a column handler. So I imagine I would define this in the uh, column. Let's see where. Okay, so sorting functions, row A, row B, any. Okay, so this is for client side rendering. Client side sorting though, I believe, right, Kevin? Sorting guide is also a good read, but a lot here. Explains your manual server-side sorting strategies. Okay, yeah. Yeah, so I do want to do the manual sorting. So just to give some context to this, so TanStack does a lot of this stuff out of the box. Like you can load all your data, depending on the size of your data, and then it can just handle the sorting and everything. In my particular case, I have a lot of data, so I can't load it all in one shot. It's paged and the API handles this. So I would need to do manual sorting. And then if this is true, you'll be expected to sort your data before it is passed to the table. Okay, yeah, no, that's true. Okay, enable sorting. Okay, enable sorting removal. All right, cool, cool, cool. Sort descending first, enables the sale. Okay, there's a lot of there's a lot of stuff in here. Um, yeah, okay. Okay, then there's the get sorted row model. This function uses read this sorted row model. If using server side sorting is yeah, okay, yeah, that's what I figured. It's not required. So we're still good with just the get core row model. Okay. So essentially, I would want to do manual sorting to true, and um, yeah, yeah. So there. So where would I set that? Declare module. Let's go see here. Let's come back. Actually, is there a manual sorting example? So let's look here. Row pinning, sorting. Okay, sorting state. Okay, so the sorting API. Want to skip the implementation? Check out these examples. Cool, cool, cool. Sorting state. Okay, so that makes sense. We have if you need easy access to the sorting state, you control manage the sorting state in your own state management with the state.sorting. This ties into, yeah, sorting guide. So this ties into what I was mentioning before too. Like eventually I want to have personalization for these grids. So we would be using the state here and that would persist. And then when the particular maintainer or contributor that's using the application, we would load their personalized state for that particular grid. Not there yet, baby steps, but anyways. Okay, so initial sorting state. Uh, okay, so initial state sorting, ID name. Yeah, okay. This is what I want to read through. Cool. All right. This guide was way easier to read than the plain API doc pages you're on. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, because I basically know how to do the sorting, like, and I was gonna implement it in the header there. But like if there's something that allows me to do that in an easier way, I'm definitely gonna do that. So yeah, so this is what we want to focus on. So manual server-side sorting. So again, just to reiterate, TanStack out of the box, manual sorting is off because I don't know if it's the assumption, but basically all the data that's loaded, that's what you can sort. And then I think it just handles a lot of that out of the box. Like maybe you have to do some CSS to obviously make it look the way you want, but so we're still using the get core row model function. Yeah, because we don't need the get sorted row model. Yeah. So I think for the most part, I'm always going to be using get core row model for the tables we use because we have all of this handled in the API. So like the sorting, the paging. Um, we don't have fil we have some filtering, I think, but I haven't touched that yet. Okay, so note when manual sorting to true, the table will assume that the data you provided is already sorted. Yeah, that's what we got. Okay, so let's go add that because we're going to need that for sure. And that's in the, oh yeah, in use React table. Okay, so find use React table. All right, and boom. Uh, we're, I'm just putting this for me and colleagues. We're manually sorting because the API handles the sorting server side. There, boom. Okay, let's do that. Actually, let's just add that one thing here. So let's go. Let's just stage that one change. Yeah, let's do that. I'm terrible at doing this from the command line staging pieces, so I'm just gonna do VS Code has a really good integration for this, which is just type in stage and you can say stage all changes or particular changes, but I'm just gonna say selected ranges, which is what I just highlighted, and I'm just gonna commit that. So let's shrink this over here. All right. Clear G chore set uh, React table to manual sorting. Cool. I I've been using VS Code literally since not like the very first version, but I've been using VS Code since I think 2015 definitely. I don't think 2014. Maybe fall of 2014. And when I started using VS Code, because I used to work at a Microsoft shop, and we started using TypeScript very early on. So I've been doing TypeScript since 2015 or fall 2014, I think. And the only editor that supported TypeScript at the time was VS Code, so that's what we were using. And VS Code was like bare bones, no extensions. You couldn't sync your, well, there's nothing to sync. There was no settings to sync. It was literally just like Notepad plus plus with TypeScript support, basically. That was essentially it. No Git integrate. No, I don't think they even had Git integration at that point. So it's very bare bones. And I was also working at a Microsoft shop, so we weren't even using Git at the time. We were using Team Foundation Server, which was it's called TFS. I don't know what it's called these days. I think it's still called that, but anyways, a lot of Microsofts moved on to Git. But anyways, I digress. Um, I'm just productive in it. Like I definitely use text editors sometimes. Like I'll go into VI. Which I don't even know. Is VI Vim or is it something different? I'm not really sure, to be honest. I used WebStorm as well because at one place, because I worked in Microsoft technologies for a long time, I used to do a lot of C Sharp. So I worked in Visual Studio for a long time. Visual Studio, I have to say, like whether you like Microsoft or not, or uh, honestly, it was and still is an amazing editor. Like, and even before that, like people talk about, because I'm a lot older, but like even before, sorry, I was talking about VisualStudio.net, but before VisualStudio.net, there was Visual Studio and something else called InterDev. But like I used to be able to use an IDE to edit, or sorry, to debug JavaScript. This was like only Internet Explorer at the time, but like you could debug like breakpoints and stuff. And anyways, I'm going on tangents here, but like I was even doing server side JavaScript back in 2002, but it was using Microsoft's version of it called JScript. So, anyways, I digress. I digress. Sublime's solid too, and I know they got a new version pretty somewhat recent. Um, was it last year or 2 years ago? Like I think was it version 4? I can't remember. Sublime's always been super fast. I don't know if they have any kind of TypeScript support now. Hey, yo, what's up, Chris? Um, the other one I'm really excited about is actually Zed. Let me pop it up here. I haven't made it my de facto editor yet because there's just I think the main thing is that they don't support Astro syntax yet. They use these things called Tree Sitter, which are like plugins, and you're doing Delphi. Wow. Okay. Um, but Zed is super fast. Uh, it's gotten really good. I even have GitHub Copilot integrated with it. Um, it just I think I have to start using it more. I I was doing some stuff with Astro, like I said, and they just didn't support Astro syntax, and I just wanted that experience. VS Code is pretty good these days, but Zed is super fast, and I honestly encourage you to check it out if folks haven't. Let me drop it here. Also, hey, how's it going, Toma? Yeah, I'm trying pink. I like it better actually. The yellow is fine. The funny thing about the yellow is, so like if we come to here, let's go to nikkit.co. I'm not a designer. I'm a someone who can build nice sites if I'm given designs. But essentially, what this is, and I give credit to it if we come down to the bottom, because I'm not going to say this is mine. But this is from the Hylia 11D starter kit. So Andy Bell, um, who people may or may not know, really great front end dev. I love a lot of the stuff he does. He built this template. I forget when, but and yeah, here Andy Bell, Piccalilli. I'm spelling it wrong. Here, yeah. If you go give Andy a follow, 888 lines of code. That's the Delphi. I've never written Delphi. I have written COBOL. I took COBOL in university, believe it or not, as well as assembly. Um, but, anyways, Andy's a great follow. Just is really good with not just CSS, but like just he's a designer and a dev, and I really love all the stuff he does. And essentially, um, I wanted to restart my blog in 1975. Yeah, yeah. No, uh, yeah. Although that is when I'm born. I'm born in 1975. It's, um, yeah. Believe it or not, I'm actually gonna be 50 years old next year, which is kind of wild. But anyways, um, yeah, I don't feel 50 at all for sure. But that's also because I drink the blood of the young something. I don't know. Something vampires or something. You can fill in the blank there, Chris. Something from Supernatural or whatever. Yeah, man. No, try to stay healthy. Like I mean, I've been training most of my life. I mean, did lots of sports and stuff, but been pretty avid at the gym and stuff, and generally try to take care of myself. Don't get me wrong, nobody's perfect. Definitely, I wolfed down a bag of chips this weekend. I don't mean the small bag either. anyways, um, anyways, getting back to what I was saying was so there's this Hylia starter kit, and I was like, this is really nice. I thought it was nice at least. And hey, how's it going, Ahmad? Nice. Thanks for joining on X. So essentially, that's what I built with here, and then I was like, you know what? I'll just kind of make it my own a bit, but I definitely, there's no way I'm gonna say that I built this myself. Like, I mean, I've definitely like changed a lot, but you got to give the credit where credit's due. Also, I'm part of my old coworker Salma's web ring. If anybody wants to join a web ring, yeah. Who else is in here? Well, Salma, obviously. Scott Spence, who's from Sveltland. My old coworkers Phil and Zach, Karen, and yeah, a bunch of old coworkers and some other folks. But anyways, so I made this was my blog, and then I essentially kept the yellow, and that's what ended up being like the yellow for like my background and like my social cards and the alpaca is a whole other thing which I can get into, but basically I ended up with that yellow because my streaming here, that link used to be on this page, but now if you click on it, it goes to this is new. This is an Astro site. The other one, my actual blog's 11D right now. But I made this schedule and stuff, and then I was like, I just wanted it to be pop a little more, so I added these pinks and stuff, and um, the purple is nice too, but I actually like the pink. I just kind of wanted to pop up a bit. So, anyways, this is like a work in progress still, but essentially, just yeah, just a few folks on here. By the way, that reminds me, hey, Chris, if you're still in the chat, if you want to hang sometime on stream, man, love to have you on, or vice versa, if you want to do that too. Yeah, I got some other great guests coming on to hanging out with Anthony Campolo today, actually. And there's a bit of a break because I'm going to Miami next week for cool. All right, drop me a DM after, Chris, man, and we'll hook it up. Yeah, I'm heading to Miami next week because it's my work offsite, so I'm super pumped to be hanging with my coworkers from OpenSauced, and then we're rounding it off with React Miami. So yeah, it's don't want to make you jelly there, Chris, but I think React Miami is gonna pop. Uh, I forgot to submit a talk to speak to React Miami. I had meant to, and then in the end, it still worked out. Basically, our offsite is happening there, and then works hooking us up to go there. So really appreciative of that. But anyways, so there's like a little gap in like the guests because usually I have somebody every week. But after React Miami, yeah, I'm gonna be hanging out with Fabian, who's the creator of Valibot. It's like a Zod alternative for folks who have used Zod. And then I'm jumping back into the .NET world because I haven't done any professional .NET since 2016. So I'm hanging with Brandon from AWS. He's a dev advocate over there. So don't even know what's gonna happen there. It's been a while, and then I got hanging out with Gant Laborde in June. Gant's super busy, so he wanted to come on, but he's like, yeah, I've got all kinds of stuff in April and May, so looking forward to that too. But definitely gonna. I got some other people in the pipe, including Chris, who's in the chat. Also, if you aren't following Chris on Twitch, go give him a follow. Cool, cool, cool. I gotta wrap up here in about 10 minutes, so let's get back to got completely sidetracked, but that's all good. Yeah, so we got the manual sorting there, and let's close all this. Boom, boom, boom. Workspace. Close others. Yeah. Okay, so let's go back to the table here. Let's zoom this here. I'm gonna zoom it in a bit. Um, Good to see that the Zoom is still working. So like I was saying, got completely off topic. You were supposed to go down there and stand up in it. Just stand up it in the back. Oh, I couldn't swing it though. Yeah, it's a bit pricey. Like uh, I'm at a startup right now, so like I know there's like some niceties I don't have at the moment. So like education stipend or like stuff to like when I was at Netlify, like I basically went to render ATL thanks to my Gant's wedding. Okay, sorry. Yeah, Gant's getting married. I know Jamin, I can't remember if he's flying or driving down, but they're on their way there. Yeah. Yeah, I hear you about missing a wedding sometimes. One of the guys I played rugby with years ago in university, he's from Montevideo in uh, my brain sizzling. Not not Argentina. Uh, I know where this is. It's just my brain is sizzling at the moment because I still have a bit of a yeah, Uruguay. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, so Bernie, I was supposed to go to his wedding because it would have been awesome, but I just couldn't at the time. And timing didn't work out, and it was a little pricey. This was like before I was like, you know, making pretty decent money in tech. So, but I hear you. But what you should do is you should tell Jamin to just like email a cutout of yourself or something and get them to print it out and just hang you up in the back or something. Anyways, I digress. I digress. Cool. All right. Yeah. So we got 10 minutes, like I said here, because then I gotta pop out and do some errands, and then gotta stream in a little bit. So we set the manual sorting to true. So essentially, yeah. So Kevin was saying I could put her on all the all the T heads here, which are the table heads here. because this is an old school HTML table, because this really is data. A lot of people frown upon HTML tables um, a while ago because that's how we used to just do layouts, and then now you have stuff like flex blocks and grid, so you don't need tables for that. But for actual tabular data, it does make sense to use a table still. And there's some niceties like the freezing the columns, like we did on Friday when I was hanging with Kevin. Um, but yeah, so we've got this here, and let's go, where's that arrow? Let's go back to the column definition, and then let's see here, where was it? Arrow. Yeah, so essentially the info is declared, but it's never read. Yeah, I'm aware of that. Info dot. Yeah, so there's a few things we need to do here. Like this really should be a component. So let's do that. Let's do this. Let's say sorting sorted column. And let's just start off with, we'll do the info equals info as a prop. We'll start with that. And let's just get rid of this. And then we're going to create a new React component. And we'll just say sorted column. And it's going to have some props. Let's just return this for now. And we're going to say column name, or we'll just say name. Because the name, we don't have a name. This is what I gave it because we don't want to use the actual, uh, whoops, why did it do that? Updated it, yeah. Because we don't want to use the actual column field because it's like updated underscore at. So it's at name and cell info or header info, or no, column info. That sounds better. Column info. Cool, cool. And I know I might not be doing this completely correct at the moment, Kevin. This is just a starting point, and then I'm gonna read through some of the docs after. But okay, and let's just do this. Okay, so the column info here is header context. Let's do this. Okay, just gonna I'm gonna probably pull this out into its own component after, but we'll say name is string, and then we'll say column info is, what was this again? Yeah, let's pop that in. Cool. And then, so then that gives us the IntelliSense. Yeah, cool. Yeah, drop me a DM and yeah, we'll get something set up. It'll probably happen after React Miami, so in at least 2 or 3 weeks. But yeah, I'm down, man. Thanks, Chris, for hanging. Cool, cool, cool. All right. So we got that, and then so we got the name now. So let's put this here. That's good. Let's just save this, and it should look the same. And just to make sure that, just to show I'm actually using my new component, you see it's added the ASDF whatever. So let's put that back. Boom. Okay, cool. And then in here, we're gonna want to have some kind of state. So let's say const is ascending. Come on, Copilot. You can do it. No, okay. Set is ascending. And there might be an easier way to do this in TanStack table. I'm going to read in the docs more, but I'm just going to start. And so Boolean and actually, yeah, boom. It's actually true. Actually, we don't need to do that then. It's ascending by default, I believe. Yeah, cool. And then here we can do this, just classic. And then here, and then by solid down arrow. And then let's import that. Cool. And then this should be a button. Click. There'll be more in here eventually, but for now, we'll just say set is ascending, not is ascending. And we should now see this change go up and down. So boom, boom, boom. Okay, so that's good. All right, I'm gonna wrap it up here. Thanks everybody for hanging. I gotta go do an errand, and then if anybody interested in AI front ends, gonna be hanging with Anthony Campolo in about 2 hours. So come check that out if you want to. And also, if you're checking out the eclipse later, don't forget, protect those eyeballs. And we'll see you in the next one. Later.